Welcome to another episode of Geek Master. And if you're listening to this right now, that must mean that you are so bored that you have nothing better to do, which is fine by me. So today I figured, since there isn't too much happening in the world of comics news, and I'm a little bored myself as we get into the second week of August 2015, I thought I'd take this as an opportunity to do a podcast on 5 things that I would like to see happen on Arrow Season 4, since we are about 2 months away from the premiere of the CW's Hooded Vigilante hitting TV screens once again this fall. So jumping right in, 5 things I would like to see from Arrow Season 4 begins with no flashbacks. In the first 2 seasons, I felt like the flashbacks were great plot devices that the writers used to set up the overall story arc. But by the time Season 3 rolled around, they immediately began to feel like lazy ways of creating a solution to whatever problem Oliver was having that week. I thought the whole Hong Kong thing was pretty pointless, and bringing Oliver back to Starling City in the process kind of diminished the whole "I spent 5 years on an island" backstory. That was basically the foundation of Oliver's background. If you think back to the early first 2 seasons, the flashbacks actually served a purpose by telling an origin story of how Oliver Queen went from the douchebag dilettante to a vigilante avenger, with the bonus birth of Deathstroke in the bargain. Not only that, they managed to connect the plots of each individual episode together by putting the decisions Oliver was making in the present into context, using the flashbacks as a plot device to basically narrate and explain it to the audience. The payoff for Season 3's flashbacks to Hong Kong was nothing more than the Yamashiro family owing Oliver a big favor in the end. Ooh, wow, so exhilarating. I think at this point we have basically seen enough of the flashbacks, and it's time for writers to put on their thinking caps and produce a story that doesn't have to rely on ambiguous plot devices that really aren't needed. There are plenty of Green Arrow stories to draw inspiration from in my eyes, so it shouldn't be that hard. Let's see what happens. Number 2 on my list, I'd like to see more gadget arrows in this season. After 3 seasons of this show, it's kind of egregious to me that we haven't seen more gadget arrows from our Green Hooded Vigilante. Outside the one boxing glove arrow he shot and some basic trick arrows, we really haven't seen any of the more elaborate trick arrows thus far in the series. Season 3 didn't do too bad putting more emphasis on the trick arrows, but I still feel like they've barely scratched the surface with the possibilities. With Arrow shifting to the Green Arrow and writers taking on a more comic-esque approach to its storytelling, I hope that means that we will be able to see a myriad of new gadget arrows debut. How awesome would it be to see a ricochet trick arrow that bounces off of walls to make impossible shots, or some kind of high-tech supersonic arrow? With Ray Palmer joining the ranks of the superhero team, he should have no problem getting access to high-tech gear, so let's see them put that to good use in Season 4. Number 3 on my list, I'm sure most, if not all of you will agree with, and that's no more Olicity. I think, like a lot of fans who tuned in to watch Arrow Season 3, I absolutely hated the whole Oliver Felicity subplot of the show. It felt like the show was spending way too much time focusing on the tumultuous relationship between Oliver and Felicity, and by doing so, the overall tone of the show suffered prodigiously. One minute Oliver wants to be with Felicity, the next minute he thinks he can't be with her because that puts her in too much danger, even though just being on Team Arrow puts her in just as much danger already. It was kind of retarded. Felicity started off as one of my favorite characters on the show, and by the end of Season 3, I was hoping that somehow, some way, she would get killed off so I wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. I would like to see Season 4 get back to the Felicity who was funny, smart, and always saying the wrong thing, but always remaining a crucial member of Team Arrow. Let Oliver hook up with Sarah since they are clearly more compatible characters, and let Felicity be Felicity. I don't care who Oliver hooks up with, just let the whole Olicity thing die and rest in peace. Please. Coming in at number 4 on my list, I'd like to see more Easter eggs set up, dynamic subplots. And with the CW-DC universe shaping up nicely, I would also like to see more crossovers, even though the first crossover they did for Arrow and Flash last season was kind of a disappointment in my opinion. I would like to see the B-list characters of each show cross over at least 4 or 5 times during the season, and for the heroes to cross over at least 3 or 4. I realize that's probably a lot to ask, but hey, a man can dream, can't he? I just feel like the shows have so many ways they can feed off of each other. By doing so, I feel like that will go a long way towards creating superlative stories that will be received positively by diehard fans and casual fans alike. Who knows? Sky's the limit right now. And last but not least on my list, I would like to find out whatever happened with the storyline that was developing involving Oliver's son. It's a storyline that started during season 2, and I believe it was mentioned once or twice via Easter egg in season 3, if I'm not mistaken. But other than that, we've been kind of left totally in the dark. We know that Oliver eventually has a son in the comics by the name of Connor Hawke, who eventually becomes the second Green Arrow. So I'm interested in this storyline because it could have an impact on some of the future stories that get pulled in later on, maybe. Since time travel and multiversal worlds will be heavily involved with Flash and the Legends of Tomorrow this season, I personally would love to see a standalone episode that gives us a look into a possible future where Oliver's son takes up the mantle of the Green Arrow. But at this point, since we have basically not seen or heard anything about this particular situation, I would hate to see it get forgotten about as the show decides to go in a different direction. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring this video to a close. If you found any value in this video, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and even follow me on Facebook at The Geek Master. I know it's been a while since I put out a video, but I try to put out at least one video a week so I can keep you guys up to date with all things geek, all things comic. So please subscribe to the channel, you nerd gods and geek goddesses. I'll see you guys next time, and I'm out, bitches. Peace.